Tonight, somewhere on this planet, 80,000 people are screaming at a ball. They are grown adults, doctors, engineers, teachers, grandmothers, and they are losing their minds over a man with his foot. You have probably been one of them. And you never once stopped to ask why. The answer reaches back further than the sport, further than the stadiums, further than civilization itself. The answer begins with survival. Your brain is not a modern machine. It is an ancient one. A survival computer built and rebuilt over millions of years by a species that had one job: stay alive long enough to have children. And the brain that kept your ancestors alive is the exact same brain sitting inside your skull right now, watching a match, feeling things it cannot explain. Psychologist Jonathan Haidt spent years studying something he called the hive switch. The idea is simple and strange. Under certain conditions, your sense of individual self dissolves. You stop being a person and start being part of something larger. A crowd, a tribe, a unit. Haidt found that this switch is not a glitch. It is a feature. It evolved because groups that could temporarily fuse into a single coordinated organism survived better than groups that could not. Soccer flips that switch every single weekend. Think about what happens in your body when your team scores. Your arms go up before you decide to raise them. You scream before you know you are screaming. You grab the stranger next to you, a person you have never met, and you hug them. That is not enthusiasm. That is a neurological event. Your brain has just briefly merged with the people around you. And it feels extraordinary because it is supposed to. Your ancestors needed that feeling. It kept them alive. Now go back further, much further. Anthropologist Robin Dunbar spent decades studying human social groups. His research produced what became known as Dunbar's number. The idea that the human brain can maintain stable, meaningful relationships with roughly 150 people. That is your tribe. That was always your tribe. For hundreds of thousands of years, your ancestors lived and died in groups of that size. Everyone in the group was either family or an ally, or someone you had personally evaluated and chosen to trust. Outside that circle was danger. Your brain still runs that calculation. It is running it right now. It scans every room you walk into, every crowd you stand inside. It asks the same question it always asked: who is us? And who is them? Soccer gives your brain an answer in seconds. The moment you see a jersey, the calculation is complete. That person is yours. That person over there is not. And suddenly a stadium of 80,000 strangers becomes comprehensible to your ancient brain. You are not alone. You are surrounded by your tribe. And your tribe is locked in a contest with another tribe. Your entire nervous system understands this, because your entire nervous system was built for exactly this. Researcher Emma Cohen at the University of Oxford studied something called synchrony, the phenomenon that occurs when people move together, march together, breathe together, chant together. Her findings were striking. Synchronous movement raises pain thresholds. It increases cooperation. It makes people willing to sacrifice for each other. It bonds strangers faster than conversation ever could. A stadium full of fans chanting in unison is not just a crowd making noise. It is thousands of humans engaging in one of the oldest bonding behaviors the species has ever used. Soldiers have marched in step for centuries. Tribes have danced together before hunts for far longer. The chant in row 17 is the same behavior, dressed in modern clothes. And what about the ball? Look at the geometry of a match. Two groups, one contested object in the middle, one territory on each side to defend. Does that structure sound familiar? It should. Primatologist Frans de Waal spent a career documenting the social behavior of our closest evolutionary relatives. Chimpanzees form coalitions. They raid neighboring groups. They defend territory. They have leaders and hierarchies, and something that looks very much like celebration after a successful conflict. You are watching that. Repackaged, with rules. The field is the territory. The goal is the breach. The goalkeeper is the last defender. And every time that breach happens, the attacking tribe erupts. Not just with happiness, with relief. With the kind of release that only comes after genuine tension. Because somewhere in the deep architecture of your brain, the match was never just a game. This is also why a missed penalty destroys you in a way that feels disproportionate. Neuroscientist Tanya Singer has studied empathy at a neural level. Her work showed that watching someone you are bonded to experience pain activates the same regions of your brain that light up when you yourself are in pain. You are not imagining what the penalty taker feels. You are feeling it. Your brain recruits the same circuitry. The miss lands in your body like your own failure, because your brain has classified that player as part of you. When your team loses, you do not just feel disappointed. You feel threatened. Your cortisol spikes. Your status, at least the ancient tribal version of status your brain keeps track of, has dropped. Research by Paul Bernhardt showed that testosterone levels in male fans fall measurably after their team loses and rise after a win. You did not play a single minute. You sat in a seat and watched. And your hormones changed as if you had personally won or lost a confrontation. Your body does not know the difference between watching and doing. It never learned to. Consider the referee. The way a wrong call can transform a calm person into someone unrecognizable to themselves. Where does that fury come from? It comes from fairness, which sounds abstract until you understand how non-abstract it actually is. Primatologist Frans de Waal documented something extraordinary in capuchin monkeys. When one monkey received a grape and another received a cucumber for the same task, the cucumber monkey refused to eat. It threw the cucumber at the researcher. It would rather go hungry than accept an unfair exchange. The rage at a bad refereeing decision is not petulance. It is a justice reflex so old it predates language. It predates civilization. It predates your species. Soccer just gives it a weekly outlet. And what about the ones who are not fans? The people who look at a stadium of screaming humans and feel nothing? They are not broken. They have simply found their tribe somewhere else, in music, in politics, in their neighborhood, in a company, in a religion. The mechanism is identical. The need is the same, because the need is not about soccer. It was never about soccer. It is about belonging, about knowing whose side you are on, about the feeling, however brief and however irrational, that you are part of something that extends beyond your single fragile body. Your ancestors needed that feeling to survive. They passed it to you. And now you take a seat on a Saturday afternoon in a stadium or on a sofa, surrounded by people you may or may not know. The whistle blows, and you are gone. Not into a game, into something ancient, something that predates the sport by millions of years. Something your brain has been rehearsing since long before there were rules, or jerseys, or scoreboards. The only thing that has changed is the ball. Tonight, somewhere on this planet, 80,000 people are screaming at a ball. And now you know exactly why.